so far today, I'm in the process of blowing apart all the aluminum pipe here. And then I get to throw the gasket for the turbo on there. So that way we got that on there. And before we pull the turbo off and do that, we'll probably want to, I don't know, maybe I want to put that on. Let me think. In all actuality, we should probably put the gasket on the turbo before I put the wastegate pipe on, because the wastegate connects on a second level, so maybe we'll take care of that. But anyways, point of this is I needed to roll some beads into the pipe, and lucky for me, I just got the bead roller today, so we've got a couple extra pipes left to do. Alright, so the bead roller I picked up was just a cheap little one from Eastwood. It's pretty simple. And essentially, gotta make sure I get this thing on the correct side here. We just want to roll a couple beads. And essentially I am guessing, or just using the calibrated eyeball to keep it lined up. But if you're not so good with that, you can draw a line around it and carry on there. But essentially, after some trial and error, I figured out that for this certain pipe, I just turn the bolt tensioner to a preset amount, which for me is a full 360 plus another 180. So then we can just grab this thing and start rolling. Now this thing is designed to operate in a vise, but I just clamped it to the top of the press because that gives me a good eye level. And there we go, one full revolution. And the heater's cranking on back over there, so. But anyways, that gets us a pretty nice little bead. Now it's not exactly perfect. If I did a lot of these, I'd probably rig up these dies to have like a back fence or something. So it would always be beading at the same size, but honestly, right now, I don't care. So, now we just move on to the other side here, and we'll be set. Alright, not too bad. Now I think I just have one pipe left, and then I'll be done with this section. We are going to lay out how we want the fuel system lined up. We've got the bung from the fuel tank that comes down a little bit too close to the drive shaft for my liking. So we're going to have a 90 come off going that direction, and then we need to get a 180 to bring it through this thing. That will also get it a little bit higher up so I can make it over the drive shaft and pinion. And then that should allow us to hook another 90 right about here or so. So that will officially make it over top of the pinion and everything. And then we will have our Y junction that goes underneath the fuel box here forward. So we're gonna need another 90 for this one, and probably another 90 for that one. So there's that. And then we go into, from here, into our 30 micron pre-filter there. And then into this 10 micron and then out from here into where the engine is. And then from all of that, it comes back over into another 90, into the fuel pressure regulator, and then the AN comes straight back and into this guy. Actually, it'll be into this AN because we're going to use this one to go whatever. So we'll have to get it into this guy, and then from there, we'll be done. I don't know, I'm going to look to see if there's like a fuel cooler or something. Just kind of, who knows how much heat it's generating through there. I just kind of want to look. No guarantees on that, but that's kind of what I'm attempting to get going here. So I've definitely got a few more fittings show up, but one of the things that's kind of nice is this 10 micron fuel filter. It's actually made by TSP, and they knocked off Aeromotive. And the one nice benefit to being a pretty much direct knockoff is you can order up the, what do they call that, microglass? Because what comes in this filter is this paper element, and although most people have never had any problems with it, they suggest not using it with E85. So picked up a microglass one that is rated for E85 and everything, and made in the USA. So that hooks on perfectly on there. And we just turned this essentially 40 bucks or so for the filter, and then I think it was 20 bucks for the microglass. So 60 bucks we put into this thing, and an Aeromotive is about 150. So that's a quick saving of 90 bucks right there. And then we'll pretty much be set. All right, so pretty much the last of my parts came in. So we are doing pretty good there. So we got our 2 elbows here. So that'll hook us up here. Be a pretty tight fit. But we can extend it down because they can flex a little bit. But we got that. And then we have this junction here. So that will allow us to plug into the gas tank and then go this way to buy us a little bit of room. Depending on how much we have in between here and the bulkhead, it can go on that side or this side. We got this tiny little cooler. Should be just enough to bleed off any excess heat from running those dual pumps through AN8. Like, it shouldn't be a problem before, but I just figure may as well. It's pretty darn cheap and not too hard to rig up in there. I can tell we could just run the return in here, comes back out through here, away you go. So that should work. So that's that side, and then I got the fuel rail with its new setup. All right, so over here you can see I've got our low clearance 90 hooked onto another 90 onto our crossover. That's used to be up here at the front. Then we got this 180 that will make it so we can run our, get that so it doesn't fall off. So then we can run our hose out through here and down there. I didn't want to run it into the back with that 90 because the angle started getting a little bit too complex for what I want the hose to be able to turn. It's like the gentler the bends, the better. So I opted for this, and it also makes it so the return, I guess we would call it, the return can cross over and get into the regulator much easier. That's looking like it's the plan. I've got everything mocked up where the fittings go, so it's just a matter of shoving it all in there. But before I do that, the place where I want to put the surge tank behind the seat has, well, let's go run and take a look at it. We have the bulkhead. Kind of hard to see in here, but it's at, I don't know, maybe a 15-degree angle. And so what that's doing is pushing our little box a touch too far back. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is cut into that back panel and kind of right about down here or so. I'm going to cut it across and bend it completely straight. So that way we buy just a touch more room for those AN fittings to fit. It's like right now I've got maybe an 1/8 inch of clearance, and I have no clue what that back carriage is going to do when you lay into it. So the last thing I want to do is hit the gas and have the little IRS frame walk forward and smash into the AN fitting and leak gas everywhere. So that is basically what I'm going to do off camera here, because taking the video camera underneath while you're working is kind of a pain in the butt. So I guess we're just gonna mess around with the figuring out how to make these Teflon lined fuel hoses work, because they're slightly different for putting the fittings on, and then we'll see what we're doing. Alright, so before I get too crazy, this little fitting that goes into the fuel tank, I replaced the O-ring with a Viton ring, however the heck you pronounce that. So that way we know it's good and sealed for E85, and I've got 9 others. So of course you can't really buy one for 50 cents, you gotta buy 10 for $6. But either way, it gets the job done, and then I've got extras. Alright, well this Teflon lined hose is pretty darn stiff. So on the upside, it kind of takes whatever bend you put in it. So I'm going to have to figure out how to make that all work. Because I think we have to push back this outer casing to get this ferrule, or whatever they call it, onto the Teflon piece to get it over top of that. So that's why I don't know if we push it back or if we cut it back. I guess that's why they sent instructions. Well, that's where we're going to try our first attempt with the end of the bulk roll here. So I think it says shove this guy on first. Oh, okay. It can just slide. Even better. All right, so we just kick her back. Then we can grab this guy try to wedge that on. It's one of those easier said than done type of maneuvers. And then I guess we can beat its ass. There we go. This feels a little better now. Alright, so like I talked about before, we're going to come in through here, slice across, down there, up here, and move this a little bit taller. We've got enough room behind the seat, because we got so much room for the roll cage and that stuff. So if we bring her up a little bit, we can buy quite a bit more room for the AN fittings, which I will probably need. So I'm just gonna grab the angle grinder, slice across, and we'll see how big of a disaster it looks like in the end. All right, so after all that's all said and done, we got our little kick out for the surge box. So we got a spot for that. It buys us just extra couple inches of room, maybe an inch. So that's give us plenty of room to work with. I've already tested out the box in there and it sits up in there pretty nice. So that is just a couple hours away of messing around with. I've got all the hose from the front of the engine back to yay here into the fuel filters and that fuel cooler. We can go take a quick peek at that. We got the cooler right here, and then behind that is a filter into the other filter. That's already plumbed with the Teflon lines, and they all go up to the engine. So here we are up here, got the line fed there, so we got a nice bend in the line, and back around there, over here, up back over, into there. And then our return line here going up and away from all the exhaust and everything. So hopefully it's not going to pick up too much heat in its whole path through, but that's kind of what the cooler is back there for. Kind of drowning off a little bit of heat. So I suppose I still have to extend this harness, so I'll plug into there and we'll almost be done here. Still got to pull the turbo, get the wastegate pipe on there. Still a bunch of stuff, so we will still be clacking away here. Alright, so I really have no idea which video this goes to. I've been hitting a whole bunch of different concepts for videos, so hopefully we got something pieced together for you guys to watch, and we are getting much closer on this Crossfire, and it's starting to get kind of antsy to get there. So we're probably on a good time, maybe a week or so from trying to fire it. That's kind of frightening, but that's kind of where we're heading. So for you guys, it might end up being more like 2 weeks, because gotta have time for that video rendering and all that junk and a little bit of procrastination along the way. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and make sure to come back again and see where we get going on this thing. So I guess until next time, I guess we'll see you later.